If you listened to Louis' new album and was like, yeah, I think I get it, think again and buckle up, because it's not quite as simple as it seems. So it's been a week since the release of the album, and while I was listening to it again and again and again and again, I couldn't quite put my finger on why this album specifically felt so significant and so special, and why it really lodged itself into my heart. And yes, there's the obvious stuff like the interesting music production, him feeling more confident with his voice, and also the use of interesting melodies and ad-libs, but it's more than that, because this album tells a story. In fact, it tells more than one story at the same time. And the title, How Did I Get Here, sounds simple. And then when you add the demos and the deluxe tracks and the hidden in plain sight space theme, the album just gets even more impressive. And once you understand that the question, how did I get here, doesn't just mean one thing, you might just end up appreciating the album as much as I do. Because to the casual listener or on the first or second listen, this album feels bright, summery, romantic, carefree, as if How Did I Get Here as an album is some sort of victory lap. And don't even get me started on the symbolism of complex and deep lyrics being camouflaged by bright poppy production. That's a whole different thing. But lyrically, Louis' album has so much depth. Bottomless pit level depth. I could spend hours talking about the depth of this album, but I will rein it in for this video. Because in the grand scheme of this album, there's so much uncertainty and so much questioning. And it all comes down to the core theme of the album. Because this album is about change in all of its different forms. And more importantly, the consequences and the impact of change. The entire album, when you listen to it from the start to the end, tells a story of change. But more than that, every single song on this album touches on a different type of change. Hear me out. For big changes to happen, there is always some sort of catalyst. And we see this in the first two album tracks, Lemonade and On Fire. In Lemonade, we have She Got Me Waking at Times That I've Never Seen. It's doing something to me. It's describing this physical reaction to unexpected change. This idea of feeling different but not quite knowing why yet. And On Fire just underlines how sudden a catalyst or a change can be. I was complacent, you came and erased it, now I'm a wasteland. It's the before, during, and after of the catalyst. And this erasure of the old self suggests that this catalyst was impactful and made him want to change. Then Sunflowers moves us into the next step after the catalyst. It's the realization that, oh my god, maybe there is something better out there for me. Dreaming of a temporary heaven, hope we're not too broken to escape, take me where the sunflowers are hiding. It's this move towards wanting to change, even if that change is not guaranteed. Lazy is then what happens after Sunflowers, after the decision to change has been made. It's him letting go of trying to control or micromanage change. 18 hours later, we're still here. An asteroid could blow us all to bits. Maybe we wouldn't notice if it did. This notion of almost surrender, of letting life in, letting life happen, embracing change, even if that means doing nothing. And Palaces is then Louis enjoying the change. It's an acceptance of change almost, and the shift in Louis' mindset. It's not the same. I can feel it, something is happening. I'm lost in time, I don't care for the world outside. Basically finding comfort within yourself even when things are changing outside. And after the enjoyment of change, this fragility of that moment is then highlighted in Last Night. And change is only really scary because of the passing of time, and because time is finite. And Last Night introduces this fear of the unknown, this realization of time and mortality. It's not just change, it's the fear of wasted potential, of wasted time. It's the introduction of higher stakes. And we see this in I'm scared of what if our futures they never collide, if this were the last night of our lives. And at this point in the album, it's almost like we're hearing Louis' internal monologue with himself, debating whether changing is worth it. And this debate continues in Broken Bones. It's like Louis is going, wait, looking back, do I actually regret any of my choices? Would I do things differently? Lost among the chaos, but I've always loved the chase, and I'd do it all again, are probably the most important lines to me. This reflection of him having changed, perhaps in the wrong ways before, maybe gotten hurt because of it, but fuck it, he would do it all again because he wouldn't be here without it. It's almost this sense of pride of him looking back and being like, yeah, maybe those were the wrong choices, but they were my choices. And then change gets put in perspective for real. Because Dark to Light introduces us to change that is outside of our control. Similar to last night, Dark to Light touches on this topic of mortality and fear of wasted time, just in a much sadder context. Because it's this realization almost that change is not always for the better. Sometimes things just end. It's over before it ends. No phoenix in the flames. And for Louis on this album, he's navigating change, trying to figure out how much of the change is good and bad and how much of it he can control, when Dark to Light gives him this reality check that you can't control everything, no matter how much you want to. Imposter then kind of fits nicely as the next song, because it's almost like Louis goes, if I can't control everything that's going on around me, at least I can control who I am while everything is changing. So who am I? It's the growing pains of change. And we see this in, I don't really know who I am anymore. I've been here before, but it never felt like this. It's being scared of success, being scared of good change, which is very different from some of the other songs where he's scared of bad change. And after the identity crisis of Imposter, there's finally some stability and sanity. We see it in finally saying, now I got myself out the way. It's only me and nobody. It's finding peace within yourself. Almost this moment of self-realization and feeling good about it. This belief that, you know what? I do have myself and I can take on the world. And Jump the Gun is then this balancing act of, let me just figure out how I want to take on the world. Not wanting to change or act prematurely, jumping the gun. And we see this in, am I running out of time? Is it too soon to love you? These are all questions of how much and how fast to change now that you've embraced the fact that you only need yourself to be able to change. And Lucid is then the perfect closer to the album, because the character development from the beginning of the album, where he has the catalyst that makes him want to change, to where he is now on the album, he has changed. It's Louis looking around and barely recognizing his life. He's living the life he only once imagined. And Lucid is also the song that gives us the title track, How Did I Get Here? When you really think about it, that one title can have 5 different meanings that all cover different songs on the album. As I said in the beginning, casual listeners might just see the album title, How Did I Get Here? And go, oh yeah, Louis is just saying that he's in a happier place now. Which is fine. But allow me to play with emphasis for a little bit. How did I get here is about the process of getting here. And that's talked about in the album with the catalyst that we see in Lemonade and in On Fire. The surrendering in Lazy and the clarity in Sanity. How did I get here? Is the disbelief that you actually got here. It's this moment of awe that we actually do see in Lucid as well. How did I get here is about identity, about how Louis specifically got here. It's about the imposter syndrome that we see in Imposter, but also the self-doubt that we see in Sunflowers. How did I get here is then this notion of, it wasn't given to me. There was a cost associated with me getting here. And here we have the loss and the endings of Dark to Light, but also the running out of time that we see in Last Night. How did I get here is about the destination. Here is the emotional stability, the sanity, the peace that we see in Sanity, Jump the Gun, and Lucid. And what's important is that Louis never answers the question. And the demos and the bonus tracks don't answer it either. And I saw someone on Twitter, I'll try to put it up here, something in the line of, the official album is telling the story of how he got here, and the bonus tracks and the deluxe tracks almost make up a parallel album that tells you that it wasn't easy. And I couldn't agree with that more. Because the official album almost makes it sound like the process of change kind of just happened, granted with a couple of ups and downs here and there, but the demos truly showcase that it wasn't easy. Whether it's seeing yourself from the outside and almost feeling the need to hide in the observer, the existential questioning of what ifs in the answer, the impatience and frustrations of feeling stuck and wanting to change and save me time, the love and commitment even through chaos in Side by Side, the refusal to let go of things that actually mean something in The Spark, the semi-conscious processing of change in Sleepwalking, the resurfacing of old patterns or habits in Looks Like Lucy, and the realization of safety, stillness, and opportunity in All These Skies. And as I said in my Sleepwalking demo video, I'll link it somewhere, demos are almost secretly just for fans. They're a way for Louis to give us details quietly without having to explain them to the entire world. And the demos don't tell us how he got here. They tell us how long it took to get here, how unsure he felt while getting here, and that he sometimes considered not getting here at all. And yet through all the songs, the demos, the bonus tracks, there's this anchor of sorts that I don't see enough people talk about. Because as I listened to Louis' new album, I noticed the impressive amount of space references. Allow me to read them for you. Spaceship in Lemonade, solar systems in Lazy, asteroid in Lazy, moonlight in Last Night, satellites in Broken Bones, satellites in Sleepwalking, skies in All These Skies, cloud in The Answer. And I was wondering, what's that all about? And then it hit me. When everything is changing around you, for better or for worse, one of the only things you can count on always being there is the sky. It's the same North Star, the same moon, regardless of where in the world you are. And the solar system is one of those things that can really put your struggles into perspective. Because who are you really, and how serious are your problems really in the context of the entire universe? So while Louis' life is changing and maybe feeling a bit chaotic, there's always an anchor or an antidote by looking at the sky. And when looking at Louis' past 2 albums, he's always loved talking about change, but just in slightly different ways. Walls was almost him looking backwards, kind of maybe being annoyed and frustrated at change that he didn't want. The change of going from band member to solo artist and not knowing how to approach that. The feeling of not being brave enough to sing the solo song. Wishing that he could. Faith in the Future was then this more reflective album that maybe he can change, maybe it is bigger than just him, and that nobody really stays the same no matter how much you want it. And How Did I Get Here is then Louis actually being brave enough to embrace change. Him actually singing the solo song that's only for the brave and seeing how freeing that can be, even if it is hard. So this album isn't staying with me just because it's Louis or just because it sounds nice. Don't get me wrong, it does sound nice, but this album stays with me because it feels so deeply human. It's not making change seem easy. It's showcasing change in a complex and real way. It doesn't answer the question of how to get there or guide you through how to change. It shows Louis' real journey through change. Positives and negatives. This album stays with me and feels special because it's a brave album. And with that, thank you for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought of it below. Let me know any of your thoughts on Louis' album in the comments below. I try to respond to every single one. And also make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It truly means the world and it helps so much. And I'll link my Louis Tomlinson playlist down below so you can check out all my How Did I Get Here song reactions, opinion videos, all of that. And hopefully you enjoy those too. And with that, have a nice day, have a nice week, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!